This is a child with autism being dragged through school. Attorney and child advocate Areva Martin and psychologist Dr. Judy Ho, they're here to weigh in on this topic. And Areva, look, you're a legal expert, but also a mother of a child with autism. What are your thoughts when you watch that?
First, I get a little emotional about it because my son Marty, you've heard me talk a lot about him on the show, and he was that kid that could have been in that situation and would not have been able to come home and say to me or my husband, Mom, 2 teachers who you left me with dragged me through the school. And I have to tell you, that isn't the first time something like that has happened. Yeah. As a lawyer, as a civil rights lawyer, I represented 5 families in a case very similar to this in Nevada, where kids, nonverbal kids with autism, were abused in the classroom by their teachers. And they were criminally prosecuted. It was the first time in Nevada that teachers had been criminally prosecuted for abusing kids in the classroom.
I can tell how emotional this is for you, and I'm glad we're talking about it because we need to address it. What do we need to do? Obviously, it's educating.
Education is the first piece. Special needs children, like children with autism, are more than 3 times more likely to be abused by teachers for a variety of reasons. Teachers are emotional themselves, and sometimes when they have a difficult child, they can't help but react, but that's not an excuse. And they don't get the training that they need. They don't
Judy,
understand
I'm sorry,
that they
I gotta
have a
stop you.
different...
Difficult child. Kids with autism are not difficult children. They are children like all other children. They have a disorder. Is neurological. Sitting here with 2 doctors, you know, autism is a neurological disorder. It's a brain disorder. So let's not label children with autism as difficult, because that's what leads to that kind of conduct.
But this was a difficult situation.
It's a difficult situation.
It was a difficult situation.
Yeah.
But you can't always you prevent this type of behavior once it happened, but I don't think you can completely stop it happening.
Well, you can prevent
teachers from doing it.
Let's talk about how. I can tell you how. First of all, those teachers need to be prosecuted. So we send a strong message, because if I was a parent and I was dragging my kid like that out in public and you saw me and you called Child Protective Services, the district attorney would be knocking on my door. So let's be clear about that. That's child endangerment. That's child endangerment. That's child neglect. That's assault on that child. This is what I want parents to know. This starts with the IEP process. So that's the legal document that's developed for a child with special needs that determines what services they're going to get. And as a parent, you want to make sure that if you have a child that has meltdowns, that gets overstimulated on the playground, that there's a behavior support plan in place that determines how teachers and every adult in that situation is going to deal with your child. We can think of 100 different things that those teachers could have done differently. How about step back, de-escalate the situation, let the child calm down? How about isolate the child, make sure he's safe, he's contained, he can't dart out, he can't leave the playground. But putting your hands on the child only escalated the situation. So now the child is getting all these mixed messages and doesn't know how to respond appropriately. And the teachers are not only trained, let's talk about common sense, because where your training falls out, your common sense should come to play. So if you don't have enough common sense to know you don't drag a child like that, then you shouldn't teach anyone, less known children with special needs.
You're giving the information that I wanted to hear stated. What do you do in that situation? And you've identified it. You give them their space.
Yes.
You back off. You make sure they don't hurt themselves. They don't go and hurt somebody else. So I guess
a lot of them are very hypersensitive to stimuli. So if you're going to be up in their face, grabbing them, it's only going to escalate them further. So yes, decreasing the stimuli.